Hey everybody, Christopher Bruce from King Creative, and we're digging into another COVID conversation. This time I am joined by the Director of IT from the University of Virginia's Health Systems Foundation, Joby Giacalone. How are you, man? I can only imagine how your world has been shaken up with all this. What's going on down in Virginia?
Hey, Chris. We're doing fine down here in Virginia. Thanks for having me. It is an interesting time. My world is I help a higher education university that also works in the health system space. So this is an interesting time.
Yeah, for sure. And, I know that a lot of the universities are dealing with the effects of COVID in a lot of different ways with, e-learning and really figuring out how they're best going to finish out semesters, graduate students, and really plan for the fall semester at this point. That's probably the primary objective for many. What are you guys doing, or what have you seen? And I know that you're on a little bit of a different side of that, but obviously you're working alongside a lot of your colleagues. What is it like on campus, and what's the main concern for you guys?
Well, first of all, at the University of Virginia, we call it the grounds, not the campus.
Well, there you go. Stand corrected.
There we
Stand
go.
corrected.
No, yeah, this is what makes it kind of really fascinating in my world is we do fundraising for the health system here at UVA. What's been fascinating is the number of people coming out and wanting to give to COVID research and support for our frontline people, but also for all the support staff of those frontline. That's one thing. I can almost say it's kind of fortunate. So in Charlottesville, Virginia, we aren't in a real hot zone. We aren't a huge, big city. So while we are impacted here, the numbers aren't nearly as great as other places. Also, frankly, the UVA has done, I have to say, I'm very impressed and proud to work for an institution that's done the job it's done to prepare us. The other odd thing is, so the world keeps spinning. There are a lot of other healthcare issues, research, and clinical studies going on that have nothing to do with COVID that our people still need to marshal forward.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I think we can get lost in this virus because it is so in our face, and it's the primary thing that's talked about and that's being put on the news, and it is, of course, a major issue and a large pandemic that is affecting the globe. So you can't ignore it, but there are still all those other things that we've been dealing with up till now that people are struggling with day to day. So we can't forget about those things.
Right.
And so I can't go too long without addressing some of what's behind you. Obviously, you've worn a lot of heads and hats, per se, over the years, and are involved with the Mascot Hall of Fame, which I am proudly wearing the shirt, and Reggie is in my side angle here, rocking and rolling, dancing away. Tell us a little bit about what that's all about and some of your history there, because that's really interesting.
So yeah, when I went off to college back in the late 70s, thank you, before Chris was born, I began a career in mascotting. So that character, there's actually a couple, I don't know if you see, Homer the Dragon with the minor league baseball team, Cosmo the sheepdog, something I created independently. And I'm involved with you with the Mascot Hall of Fame. So yes, my passion is in mascotting. My career technology is in helping medical research.
Well, I mean, you might remember my short story is that my mom sent me off to college to become a doctor, and then I came home a stuffed animal. So I don't know if maybe I flipped it the other way, but either way, there's some odd connection and similarity there. So that's weird. I don't want to think that we're anything alike, but so with the Mascot Hall of Fame, that's a whole nother thing. So obviously there's the university setting and everything you guys are dealing with there, which we can get back to a little bit of what you guys are planning for the fall semester, because I think that's really interesting and affects a lot of people. But also with the Mascot Hall of Fame, it's a live interactive children's and family fun center that has exhibits and embodies the history of mascots, but also some really cool STEM elements and obviously relies on people coming to the museum, school groups, and large outings. What is going on with that? And not just the Mascot Hall of Fame, but really museums all over. How are they going to figure out a way through all this? And what's going to happen after in terms of what we need to do differently?
Well, I think like all of these openings, the Mascot Hall of Fame isn't going to be any different. I think well, actually, I hope that they are very different to this degree, that they really take care of both their staff and their customers, the people that come into the Mascot Hall of Fame. And I think they will. I think when I've talked to the various officials at the actual building at the hall, they're going to do everything they want that needs to be done for the benefit of the customer, because that's how you keep people coming back. You show them that their health, their well-being is the most important thing, or else people won't come.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, since it's a live in-person venue, they'll do, and I'm very confident that we'll do everything to the best of our abilities to take care of the customers that come in.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that experience. And I think through this, maybe they can take some steps to ensure that those experiences are even better. Maybe resetting a few of the way that people are able to interact with some of those engagements. And that's maybe not a bad thing. And for those of you guys who don't know, the Mascot Hall of Fame is in Whiting, Indiana, which is just outside of Chicago. Short ride right around the lake. You can actually see the Chicago skyline from the building. It's a cool, really awesome little town run by some great people, and a definite must see. If you're on a family vacation, if you're on any kind of road trip, or you happen to be in the Chicago area, it's a really cool thing to do and add it to the list. And I'm excited for the future of the hall. It was something that obviously I've been a part of since its beginning, and we're really all very proud of what's kind of come from that. And I think about not just the Hall of Fame, but really museums and exhibit spaces all over, because this is a very tough time for all of them, especially that really do rely very much on that revenue and that support that comes from visitors. And clearly right now that's a difficult thing to happen. So as this all settles, hopefully better than ever, right? That's the goal.
Yeah. And it's, I as a father, myself, and somebody that wants to go out to venues of all sorts, it's an odd time, and it's a real challenge, I know, for all the societies and the communities, because you want to create a safe space. You want to show that the customers that you are creating a safe space. I use the analogy right now. I love to go to baseball games, right?
Yeah.
Everything has risks, forget about COVID, just driving down the road, there's risks. So what do?
Mm-hmm.
We have some guidelines, speed limits,
seat belts,
signs,
airbags,
seat belts, right?
Yeah.
When you go to like right now, if I go to a baseball game, would I be willing to sit behind home plate if there were no net? I don't think I would. I wouldn't want my loved ones doing that either.
Where it could be very exciting for a very quick second, it might not be worth the risk.
Right. And so, those organizations, sporting events, not unlike restaurants, as long as they're putting forth the effort, unlike our Mascot Hall of Fame, adequate testing, cleaning, and all that goes in with that, that's what will get us to go back to whatever the new normal will be.
Yeah, and obviously normal is a loose term, but it's the one that we understand, and there are going to be some changes, and we're going to have to adopt some of these new ideas, and the more flexible and the more receptive to change, and understanding that these changes are being put in place because it's for the betterment of all of us, and not resisting that for just silly pride type reasons. I think we'll be better off, and it's okay. Change is inevitable. I say it all the time. It's literally one of the only things we can actually count on.
Yep.
So I don't get it personally when everybody's so resistant to change, where we really should be open to change. We should be receptive, and we should look at it as a positive thing. It's variety is the spice of life at the end of the day, and change is part of that.
Yep.
So it's okay.
Here, so let's deal with it.
Just take it on and be flexible and willing to adjust, and you'll be better off. I mean, that's just a good general life thing. It has nothing to do necessarily just with COVID. That's an all around thing. So with you in being, maybe flipping back to the campus setting, you guys are a major D1 institution that is highly rated both from an academic standpoint as well as an athletic standpoint. There's a lot that goes into that, right? So from an athletic standpoint, that's a whole discussion. And then from an academic standpoint, you got to be seeing people, really, really smart people banging their heads against the wall, trying to figure out the best way forward. So what are some of the things you're seeing that maybe we should all expect coming out of institutions like yours?
Taking small steps. That is true, though. So the UVA basketball team is now back-to-back champions.
Yeah, they got a little bit of a, I don't know, that's an asterisk for sure, but reigning champs, right? I mean,
Reigning
you get
champs.
to keep it.
I don't know if anybody else that won it this year. So
yeah, I think Man City in the Premier League is feeling the same way, and they had an interesting year. And Liverpool fans are very, very disheartened by this whole thing. But that's an interesting piece.
These is from the athletic, the student athletes. What do they do? This is an interesting time. It's been interesting seeing on social media the student athlete and even the parents of them deal with this juggle of, hold it, our child was supposed to graduate this year and then potentially go to a professional sports career, but now we might stay back another year. Like you said, this is not change.
It's unprecedented. It really is. And it's something that we've not seen, but I think that through that, it's going to provide some interesting storylines for sure. From a fan perspective, obviously we just want it, from a sports side, at least, you're just hopeful that it's possible to play and to be a part of that and to watch your teams that you've grown up to love and support them in whatever way it evolves to be.
It's about being creative with what's in front of you. Think about a mascot performance. Stuff happens and now you got to deal with it, right? Yeah. So I don't know all the details, but like Major League Baseball now, one of the ideas that they're floating is changing the alignment of teams so that they don't have to travel far. So there's no longer American and National League and Central and Eastern. We make it regional. That's kind of cool because they're taking
it's a huge shakeup, right? From what you're used to.
They're taking what's being presented to them and saying, all right, if we want to do anything, here's an opportunity for something different. So it'll be
it's going to be very interesting, and to see how it shakes out. I mean, obviously we can expect changes. I think that we've established, at least in this call, and if maybe you weren't aware of that, change, people, it's happening. So outside of the sports realm, from an academic standpoint, are students going to be on campus? Are they going to just be sticking to e-learning? Obviously it's different, right? You don't get the same experience when you're not there in person with people, but
I think every institution, again, it gets back to that idea of reopening. Will they will they take the time to open, whether it's a classroom of whatnot, in a safe manner? I think those that take the right steps and take everything into account will be able to open. So, for example, if it's a class that only has 10 students, well, and then you can do the safe distance.
Yeah.
Do it. If it's a class that has 500 students, maybe that class is done differently. And I mean, who knows? We're talking, 2-3 months from now.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it, right? You can go smaller class sizes. You can maybe take some of those introductory classes and make those online, because really, I don't think it impacts the nature of that learning experience as much as it does as you get further along. So they're going to have to figure it out. And it's probably a hybrid. I mean, the reality is the right answers typically lie in the middle somewhere. So it's going to be a combination of e-learning, in person, and changing just a little bit about how the professor and the student relationships work and when they meet and how they meet and all that. So there's a way to do it, and they'll figure it out.
And all of that will come with by then, knock on wood, better adequate support system for testing. So that people know they can go to a location. with feeling confident. They're wearing that seatbelt. They have that net in front of them.
Right. Yeah. Is there some kind of like safety, like a health scanner when you walk through the door that, ultimately has an alert if somebody's temperature is too high, or if there's some certain indications, like those kind of things are possible, I would imagine. So you just, it's not like it's maybe easy to install that into every classroom door on campus. Right. And I can't imagine that being cheap, but it's an option. Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend some of the more extreme things that are out there, but I think that with reason and with some thought behind it, and leveraging people that really do know what they're talking about, and infusing that into these systems, it'll work. It's just a matter of how.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got your hands full, obviously, but it's good to hear that the fundraising stuff is happening, and it makes sense, being a health system, that you guys are on the forefront of helping develop options and treatments and cures and all of that related to COVID, but not just COVID, other things as well. And like you said, all those things continue on. So liver failure and heart disease and diabetes and all these other issues that are very prevalent and very real still need support, still need, assistance, still need attention. And it's good to know that there's people out there like yourselves that are helping push that forward. So appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks for coming on. I think we covered a lot, with between live event spaces, academics, and sports. These are all areas in which that do affect us all, and getting your perspective on it, is helpful. So any last thoughts on what you want to tell people to maybe encourage them to kind of think about, and from your perspective, what they should be doing related to this?
Be safe. Think before you, try not to let the noise of all the politicization of this distract you from making healthy choices for yourself. And hug the people around you that matter the most.
Yeah, it's a really good one. And I think through this, and unfortunately when we're pushed, perspective comes at you. And I think that perspective is one of the best things that we can have. And the more of it we have, the better we're able to be as humans. And it is a great time now to remind yourself to reach out to those people that you care about, to get on a video chat, to call them, to text them, to write a letter, to send them something, but just be connected, be human, be great family members, be great friends, and just remind each other that it will be okay and that we're there for one another, and that's a beautiful thing. So Joby, sending my love to you. I appreciate it.
Christopher.
And for everybody at home watching, stay healthy, stay safe, stay positive, and stay connected. This was another COVID conversation. As always, see y'all soon.